share my screen real quick because today it's my turn to present some new things. Yeah, I've prepared a little presentation for everyone to follow. I've shared it also on social media already, and we will share it also later afterwards. I would say the main idea is to work in cloud development environment. So previously we kind of did a deep dive or tried it out from scratch with only opening the documentation. And the thing is, oh yeah, we have an agenda as well. We want to like step into that. So some of you might have heard that already in German before, but some first steps, some getting started guides, some new things with learning a new programming language. I've looked into Rust, which I personally don't know, and would be super interesting, but we can also like evaluate Golang or everything which is kind of built into GitLab and Gitpod. And later on, maybe we'll have the time to learn more about how we can contribute to GitLab itself with running the GDK in Gitpod, and maybe some tips and tricks. So this is me. This is just for the presentation. If you want to kind of follow the presentation or the workshop, if you're watching on YouTube now or maybe watching this later on, you need a gitlab.com account. You need a Gitpod.io account. Linking this together with kind of single sign-on should be straightforward. And I would say the preferred browser for this is Chrome. I think I've tried it in Safari as well. Should be working fine. Yeah, and everyone should be able to follow it. So the slides are public. Everyone can use them. You can use them, create your own workshops. Just feel free to copy it just with an attribution. So what are the first steps? Obviously, we need to log into Gitpod.io and connecting our gitlab.com account. This is something I did already in preparedness. So the thing is, just click over here. You can see I do have some workspaces already. You probably will be ignoring this, this will be empty in your workspaces. And the thing is, we need to connect that somehow. We want to create a project. So the thing is, luckily, our engineers and product teams already created something to try out for us. We can actually navigate to gitlab.com and create a new project. And I would encourage you both, Michael and Niklas, to also try it out if you haven't. And everyone else who's listening. What did I do now? This one. We have the possibility to, I have too many open tabs. Let me see about this. GitLab.com account. I think I already have that, but anyways, let's create a new project. And we want to create it from template, and a little down below, there should be the Gitpod Spring Pet Clinic, and we can just use this template to create the project. I'm just saying I want to create it in public. This is the template, and the project name will be Gitpod Learn. I think it's written in Java, but you can use any slug as you go along. And then we'll be just creating the project, which kind of imports the project template. So this kind of takes a little while. But it's better to have this rather than to create your own project, start with some Hello World code, which we will be doing later on. To be honest, I haven't programmed in Java for like 13 years now, so it will be it will be a little rusty to get into it again. But yeah, we now have it over here. And just following up with the slides, we want to do something about it. So as you can see, or you might have seen it already, you can switch the Web IDE action button into a Gitpod launch button. And this is something which I have been using before, so it's obviously been stored in our sessions. So yeah, selecting this and then clicking over here to run the environment in Gitpod. And while this is starting up, it's actually like creating the Docker image, starting up the workspace container. In the background, this is a Kubernetes managed environment. And it takes a little while. I could install, for example, the browser extension. And actually, it's already here. The thing which happens now is there are some initialization tasks and things, which kind of means that Spring Boot is being installed and some other magic Java stuff which is going on. But this is all defined and happens automatically. So there is no interaction from my side now. It just takes a while to kind of start everything up, install all the dependencies. But after a while, we are ready to go. The thing is, while waiting for all the things, this is something which should already be live in my environment, but just to iterate on it, you can install the GitLab workflow extension, so to speak, which means you have a deep direct integration into the project, into merge requests, issues being assigned, and essentially CI feedback as well. So when you work on code, commit something, create a merge request, you have it integrated into Gitpod as an online IDE, similar effect as with the web IDE. In order to do so, you need a personal access token. I've tried to illustrate that with give it a telling name. It only needs the scope being the API. So this is the permission layer. And yeah, you need to copy, you need to put the personal access token into your copy paste buffer, and I would advise it to store it in your password manager or somewhere else, because otherwise it will be lost if you close down the profile settings. Within Gitpod itself, just see what it does. We have the possibility to search for extensions. So when I'm searching for GitLab right here, you can see I have the GitLab workflow to be installed. I already have that. And if I want to integrate that, there is the possibility to use the command prompt, which either works with Command-Shift-P or Control-Shift-P, depending on the operating system. And you can also kind of revoke a personal token and use a different one. In this example, I can just search for GitLab personal token. I can either remove it or set it. If I say set it, it asks me for the URL for the GitLab instance. So you could also use your own self-hosted environment or gitlab.com. And when I press enter now, it will be asking me in the second step for the personal access token. After this is being set, I can use the extension and continue my work. So this is the thing which will be needed to fully integrate that. I could imagine in future iterations, we will automatically install that or provide a profile to better integrate that within GitLab itself. It's just the first version which is working, and I think it's pretty awesome to already have it with that. The other thing is when we're moving around in Gitpod itself, it can be quite overwhelming. So I kind of experienced that myself. There are icons on the left-hand side. And it's good to know or good to see, you have the file overview, which means you can kind of navigate in there and start your development process. You can search for specific things and file names and other stuff. This is the access for tracking the source code control, meaning to say it's tracking the changes which should be committed and later on synced to the GitLab repository. This is something for debugging. I don't think we will be using that or needing that for the Java application, but let's see about this. But actually, yeah, I think we will be using it because there is a pre-filled debug runner inside. Here are the extensions, and these are some extra extensions. This is actually the GitLab extension. I could look into merge requests. I think there are none. No, this is a new project already. But yeah, I can see at the bottom which project I will be using, and that's about it. The other thing is the application which has now been started is a Java application which is using the Spring framework. In the end, it simulates or it provides us with a website and a backend, which could be using, I think, MySQL or MariaDB or a local database, I think similar to SQLite. And we can play around with that and also start developing it later on. So the thing is, after all the preparations have been done, we can actually we can try to understand what's going on. But in the end, it's more important what we're going to see. So in the main view, we have like the preview of the README MD and our files. At the bottom, we're using the terminal. We can also see there's a problem tab, which kind of shows us exceptions and other code quality issues which might need to be solved. And we can also see that there is an open port, which is 8080. And I could open this in a browser, but I also have it on the right-hand side in the preview right now. So actually, this container just exposed the port, and you can test drive the environment directly from Gitpod. This is a welcome page, doesn't do anything, but the menu is interesting. You can, for example, test it out and find owners. I think Black was an owner. Yeah, it's just a simple application. I can edit the owner, for instance. It's not Jeff Black, but it's Jack Black, School of Rock, and obviously Tenacious D. So yeah, it's basically everything is being run live in there. And if we kind of want to edit something and change, not the data set is already fed in there, but we could do some different things. And we have some veterinarians. That's a super hard word for a non-native speaker. And what else do we have? Yeah, we have some simulation for errors. So when a controller is throwing an exception, this happens. And everything which I'm doing now is actually happening live in there. So if I would be changing something right now, I think it will not be live in a way that you edit the source code and it's live on the website, but you need to restart the environment or the server. But let's see about this. If we want to change the main website, for instance, or maybe just look into the Java code a little. We have main, we have resources, which are the static items, and we do have the Spring framework and the example project. This is the system, and the visit repository visits what is inside. Oh, I can run this and debug this. This is new. What happens when I click on this? Oh, okay, nothing. Let's see. Maybe I can find a resource, which is a text, which is visible on the right-hand side. Oh, okay, it does a restart. Visit, find pet by ID. No, this is just source code. Let's see, do we have the static resources? Do we have somewhere I was looking for the index HTML message properties. What's that? Welcome is welcome.
There should be in the templates. So you need to look in the templates section.
Templates? Ah, okay.
Yeah. So and there are probably all sites. Probably the welcome HTML is the right one, so it's the first site that we can see.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks. Because I was trying, so when I prepared the workshop on Monday, I was trying to prepare it. I was trying to inject some Java exceptions, and then I learned that this doesn't trigger anything on the website. So there was no ugly stack trace, but this is somehow handled by the configuration and also the controllers. But the thing is, I want to actually, changing the pets is not good. Welcome from GitLab.
And injecting emoji at least, or a Unicode item. So the flops would be cool to see if it's break.
Let's see if we can support UTF-8 and things like that or not. Yeah, let me just search for a specific emoji. Let's just
go
use...
on Emojipedia. I could recommend that.
No, you didn't see that. I do have an Alfred workflow installed, which searches from a list of emojis. I think it's not current, but it serves the purpose to just add like the fox face. And I just, let me see what else. It stores the last used emojis, and you probably know my Twitter. There is the construction site, and what else can we share? Oh, we're actually in a coffee chat right now. So we should be adding a coffee. And once this is being saved, I should be able to rerun this. I don't know if that exactly works, but on the other side, oh, this was throwing an exception. I can stop the server, for example, and I can use anything which I know from my Linux knowledge, maybe. So using the history to see what has been run before, and I can also invoke the previous run command with a double. Is it an exclamation mark? Yeah. A double Rufzeichen sounds a little strange. Oh, and I don't want to execute history again. I actually want to execute the Java char target execution, whatever that exactly does. But yeah, starting up everything. And while it's starting up, it also says, for example, that there is an HSQLDB driver. So it's using something on disk right now or within the container. And it's not using an external database or something like that. So, oops, that was the wrong refresh. Didn't intend to do that. It starts up now. Did it change anything? No. Do I need to change anything else?
Or you need to reload? Did you reload also the site? Because it's not JavaScript or something else in there.
this is actually a reload. Maybe the welcome text is coming from somewhere else, or the jar file which is contained. Oh, maybe let's check the history again. Maybe, yeah, of course. We also need to create a new package because it's just running the jar file, and we are running the jar file. Yeah. Oh, that explains my debugging session from Monday, because I was changing something and I couldn't make it work.
So, but you could also use Maven run, so it should be the same. So it would be recompiling internally and exporting it.
Okay, we will try that. Did it?
So could you open a second terminal?
I could just close it down and
no. So then typing netstat directly to see which ports are currently open, because this route is routing to port 8080. Do you see there new ports are currently open? Probably the application is still running on a different port. So the website contains in the first part, so before the first dash, it's the port. So it stands 8080 dash your Gitpod ID, I think. Yeah.
Just using the command in the README is just this mvnw Spring Boot run. Then just press the open preview button in this stuff. It reloads the page.
Yeah, maybe it makes sense to read the documentation.
Yeah, there's the command at the bottom.
But this is only so Maven Spring Boot run would only doing compiling and starting the application. It's the same like Michael also did.
It's what we've been doing before.
The current problem at the moment is, so when you are looking, you are addressing the application on an old port, probably. Yeah, it doesn't open. So if you're checking the URL, going back to the site, so to the last website, I can explain you a little bit better. So in the first part of the URL, so there's the port directly. Afterwards, it's the Gitpod ID. So going back to the Gitpod. So now when you are checking open ports, the terminal, so there's probably a different application currently running.
Just open preview or browser.
Open preview or browser is the same. So probably you need to reload your Gitpod. Probably because it's outdated. I got the same behavior right now.
Yeah, maybe because I pressed Command R manually, and yeah, let's stop the workspace. Stop.
I would reload the page. Isn't the same?
Yeah, we tried that last week in the German coffee chat. And I was like, how do I restart this? Yeah, let's just stop it and then start it again. Hopefully it works. Yeah, maybe there is like a stale port or file descriptor. This could be the thing.
But why there are two ports opened?
So the application is starting. Currently, it takes some time. So it's using in-memory database with a SQL or local database. So probably now the application is up, so you can reload on port 8080.
Again, hello.
But now we don't have the compiled stuff. This is interesting. So could you check if your changes are currently in?
So on the left side.
And you saved it, right? The file is an important point of the task.
I think I saved it. I just click here, autosave again, just to be sure, but no, it's not save as. It's
just make a git status.
Oh, git status. Yeah, git status is a good thing. Maybe I should commit it. Maybe it's only running what's committed.
No, it's definitely
the case.
And just now use the command from the README. It worked for me. This /mv blah blah.
Yeah, just a second. I learned that this one is URL, which opens up the GitLab repository again, and I can copy paste into this one. So yeah, the next time I'm just closing down all the other tabs. Maybe I should start doing that. Yeah, this was the last missing bit I couldn't figure out, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'm just too dumb or just too tired. Because I granted myself 1 hour on Monday or just 1.5 hours.
Now it should work. Because on the right bottom side, you can also see the open ports.
You also know that it should work is the famous last word of a developer.
Yeah. So there's no nested in it.
Yeah, press refresh.
No.
I've added H1 above the H2 in the template, and this works. I don't know why it never works for the welcome. I think it's just
mean
put
this one?
No, in the template you were before, the welcome template, the HTML file.
I
think it's something with Spring Boot do. Just make an H1 above the H2, then it works. Just for testing. Oops.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure. I think this is Spring Boot stuff. So just put it there. It should work.
With a text?
Yeah. Anything you like.
Anything I like. Let's see.
And then I've terminated the process and started again.
I'm wondering if there is some caching involved.
I think so. So after this, on the right side, you can see when the port is open. The right button. No. Oh, it's opened. Just now press refresh. Then you have the kicks. I'm not quite sure why it is H2. Maybe it's some kind of binding, so that the text binding.
I know it. It's a language-based template, and I was just too. The problem is this text is just a placeholder, because the text is actually being replaced by the parser with the hash welcome, and if I use this. So like this, and just put it back in, because this is kind of not relevant to what's going on. If we move back into
message properties.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I was looking
for. Multi-language.
Multi-language. If it just detects that I changed something, which is interesting. If I do this. Yeah.
Hey.
So it seems that the changes are detected from the properties, but not from the code files.
That's interesting. So this is kind of a live config change detector thing.
Could this be the pommel.xml file, maybe?
Let's just hack something else. Duplicate form submission is not allowed. Is not so good. Does it? Yeah, it detects the change. Interesting. Okay. The pom.
I expect that there is some dependency management. Maybe this reloading is also managed here. Maybe.
Could be. This is the database. So I've been here before. There is some caching.
Definitely caching.
I have no idea what web jars are, but yeah, okay. It's interesting. It's there's JavaScript in Java Spring Boot. Maybe I should learn Java again. but it's so much XML. It always reminds me of the old CI days of random of a specific tool with an XML configuration. Okay, that's the license. There's a repository. Yeah, I think for defining dependencies,
it's called org spring framework.boot.
Oh, the boot starter. Yeah, but I just changed the dependency for Bootstrap. I'm just guessing that there's a new version, and it reloads as well. So every time you edit something from the configuration, it does a reload. Otherwise, you need to kind of restart the environment. But I think, do we have debug? Oh, we only have debug inside, but I should be able. Somehow I should have a button which kind of, what is this?
That's just changes. The Git changes.
Ah, yeah, it's not a reload icon, it's a Git icon.
So, but
interesting.
from my experience from JavaScript, from Java, this is not normal. So probably you need to rerun Maven every time. So it depends really on the IDE. It could be a feature of the Gitpod. It's something that's triggered. Or it could be, probably could be the extension. So the Java extension that we are currently using.
There is a live running, a live loader extension, should be called. Optional live loader reloader.
Yeah, it's something like that.
I paste the docs into chat, then you can see it.
But probably we should just say, hey, it's awesome, it's there, but I don't want to understand it. But that wouldn't be us, to be honest. Just looking at the clock and reserving some spot for learning Rust. Live real and Spring Boot actions. Okay, this is a setting, and then it does a live reboot, live reload. Interesting.
Ah, so it's a dependency. Ah, okay.
This is kind of being added to the.
It's more dependency, so probably we should also see something. Ah, so probably when you're going back to the logs, you see it also. So there's in the second line from the top.
Yeah, this optional live reloader.
Condition evaluation delta logging listener. So something restarted main.
Yeah, you are skipping currently the loading of a live reloader.
There's the optional live reloader server. It's the plugin.
So going back to the terminal. So it's now with the cursor. Yeah,
this one.
Yeah, this one.
And it starts on a different port. Interesting. So
yeah, that's the second port, which you can see, I think.
Yeah. Okay, this is kind of a handover then. So maybe it does hand over the TCP connections being open to 8080 something, or just some proxying stuff, maybe.
I assume it's asking this thing because there is a property for poll interval. So I think it asked the other service if anything has changed, and then he had to reload.
So 8080 is not opened all the time. Yeah, but I think you're right, it's some polling mechanism and checking whether the port is being opened or not. It's interesting. Now we have officially modified our new website, which is awesome. Let's just create a screenshot. Document everything for the blog post later on. Yeah, this was actually more than I anticipated with trying out, I think. Let me just check whether we do have anything else. Yeah, I need to add something to that. Yeah, the thing which is worth highlighting probably, if you're kind of having this terminal, and next to history, there is lots of stuff being pre-installed. I think there's curl, so we could just do HTTPS. Shouldn't talk German in an English stream. You are being directed. Okay.
-L, so to follow the redirect.
This one?
Capital L.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Learned something new today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, if only I would know everything, then I kind of.
And your head will explode.
My head will definitely explode. The thing is, knowing how to Google things also means turning back time 20 years ago, learning how to search in MSDN or something else, where you don't have anyone commenting on what you're doing. The thing is, yeah, lately or last week we had HTOP, which is a more nice view of top. We do have, what else is on site? Yeah, we can just use cut and see what's installed in there. I think we could also extract env, but this was, I don't know if this will unveil specific secrets now, so I won't be touching that. But we can see that the main host, which is I think it's the Kubernetes node actually, which is running 20 LTS for Ubuntu, something like that. But anyhow, it's just a Linux environment. The thing is, and I think this is everything about it. Yeah, we can like learn from the Gitpod configuration, which we have had opened before. We can create our own workspace image if we want to. We tried that last week with a Puppet PDK Docker image, but it also needs to be like using the default user and work dir and other things. So it can be a little tricky. The best thing is to modify the existing Docker image or workspace image, and also kind of define the tasks which should be run on init. And later on, when you do something, for example, building that, and also defining the open ports. I think this is for getting started. It's really super convenient and trying things out. This is something which we did already. The other thing I wanted to try today is learning a new programming language, actually, and one of which would be Rust, because I think we've been talking about Rust a lot, and everyone seems to be using it. It could be, I think it's similar, or it's kind of, if you know another programming language, I think it's rather easy to adopt. And you shouldn't be overwhelmed by anything else. And I've also found that there is a Rust by example tutorial which you can follow, which is super convenient. I would have loved it when learning C++ back in the days. And the Rust environment in Gitpod is also already there. So normally we shouldn't have to worry about the compiler and everything else because it's pre-installed in the environment. So one thing, oh yeah, we need to create a GitLab repository first. And in my many tabs, let's just navigate back to my profile and create a new project, and we call it Gitpod Learn Rust. We make it public. We also add a README, and in essence of not doing things twice, I will just be adding the README, and these are the slides. Does this work? No, it doesn't. Then just copying this one so everyone can just check it out later on. And after that, we're gonna start up a new workspace. And we don't have anything inside the repository now, but it shouldn't really matter. While doing so, what is the thing here? We want to dive into Rust. So what does it say? This is a comment and ignored by the compiler. Okay, this is quite the same as we're used from C++ and variants. So having double slashes for comments. A function definition is not func or like the type being written. It's just fn. And then the main, okay, and we need to use the brackets for defining the scope. So statements here are executed when the compiled binary is called. This is a good hint because we need to compile a binary from the source code. We cannot just throw it at an interpreter and it does something. We need to compile it into a binary. And the hello world example invokes println, but interestingly, it uses an exclamation mark. Okay. Oh, that's actually a macro. Yeah, we need to check out what a macro is. And let's see if we have it open now. Yeah, we don't have anything in there. And let's just go ahead and say, maybe we can set up a project. Interesting. Create Gitpod YAML.
You can also make GP on the terminal.
Yeah, I was just confused what's going on, and I didn't realize that a new pop-up at the top was being initialized. How to initialize the project? Press enter. How to start project? This is an interactive thing.
It asks just the questions for the tasks. You
Okay,
can also do
interesting.
GP the space init on the terminal.
I'm kind of cheating and reading the Rust and Gitpod integration shortly to see if there's anything which is important right here. This sounds, this is a little advanced stuff. I think we will be looking into this later on. But yeah, I want to create a new file and I want to call it hello.rs, and rs is the extension for Rust. And inside, we want to say what we learned now. We want to have the main function, takes no parameters, and this one. And if I remember that, it was print this one. No, it was print
ln,
and this is a macro, whatever. No idea what a macro is. And it has no semicolon. This is a difference to C++. I want to say hello from GitLab. And do I have the other environment still opened? I want to have the emojis. Yeah, I think they are super small to add, and it's more fun to see something. Okay, this should be everything which we need right now, according to this one. The macro, okay, binary can be generated with the Rust compiler, so it's Rust C. And That's a problem. I always want to switch the context into an editor, but actually it's in the same window. We need to call Rust C, and this should be pre-installed. Yes, and hello RS. What does it do? Magic. Oh, it created a binary. Okay. Now executing the binary. Ooh, magic. Interesting. So it's actually it's a mix of, so for me it's a mix of C++ and Golang, I would say.
And a little bit of Python.
Probably. The thing which I'm kind of worried now is I have no idea what a macro is, but let's find out. Macro system, metaprogramming. Okay, the definition is the bang. Yeah, executed with a bang. There's a general function call expanding into source code. Is it an inline function? However, unlike macros in C and other languages, yeah, I know what a macro in C is. That's different. I expanded into abstract syntax trees. Oh, this is generating an AST. Okay.
It's not just a string, it's intelligent stuff.
Yeah. So it's basically you get an object or an expression somehow, and not kind of the stringified thing which happens in there. Okay. But the macros use a different format then. Oh, interesting.
Repeat yourself.
Macros say hello. Macro takes no arguments. Expounded to. Okay, that's interesting syntax. I'm curious what you can do with that. Domain specific languages. Ooh. Ah. So you can kind of, but this is advanced stuff. You can create your own config parser for that, probably. But I can see we are in chapter 17 now, so we kind of skipped 16 chapters. Going back. So what else can we do? We know about comments. Comment blocks are the same as in C++ with the slash and the multiply icon character. Doc comments. It has a built-in ASCII doc documentation thing. That's good. Which I passed. Yeah, probably I shouldn't do that now because this is pretty advanced. What else can we do? Print line. Print form.
The print.
Oh, that's Python. Oh, that's nice. I wish this would work in C++. But yeah, it will be in C++. I think it's in 20 with std format, which also uses the same syntax.
But you can use the FMT library now. There's an open source library for that.
True. You can use the FMT library, but this is, or not but, in essence, this is being added to std format. I think
it's very similar, but I'm not sure that every feature's in.
No, not that, but I think it's a really robust library, and we also considered it for past projects. The only thing which was truly hard was using kind of the built-in functionality in our own domain-specific language we had created for configuration expressions. But in the background, it's super convenient. So the thing is, what can I do now? I can print some things. Maybe just copy pasting. Copy paste is bad for learning. So print line, we have a placeholder and we just put it there. I'm just trying to remember what we're gonna do. I think the context switching is not so good. Probably I should do something else. Let's just, oops, do what I always do. And just, where is my screen share? There's my screen share, this one, and I share the entire screen. Okay. So now we have learning on the right-hand side and doing stuff or breaking stuff on the left-hand side. So we have our print line macro, and can I, okay, maybe not so big, but making this a little bigger. Also because it's getting a little late over here right now and everything is black. It's print n, and yeah, this macro syntax is something I need to adopt. We have this one, and we want to say a placeholder days. So, oh, okay, I can use, it seems that the CB colon is optional at the end at some point. That's strange. Okay, it's not optional. I just forgot it. Oh, that's a really nice compiler. It actually guesses what you need to add and says this is not expected, even with an underline. Some years ago, Clang was the first one to adopt this and to add this, and I think GCC added it later on as well. At least it was added, I think, in 5 or 6, maybe something like that. So this compiled now, and when we execute it, okay, it's just like formatting this. What else can I do with that? Super. Can I join something? Can I align something? What's that? Number is greater than width. I'm lazy now. I'm just copy pasting this. Okay, width is 6.
So
right,
it
align text.
Spaces.
Okay, that's an indent actually. Oh, that's cool. So you can build your own shell output, for instance. If we kind of say, I want to print htop or VM start or something like that, but in a more like programmatic way, we can do this in a loop, but we don't know loops yet. So, okay, that's nice. I can debug something. Okay, all types. Oh, it's std format traits. Yeah, no idea about traits. I think, what's that? Okay. Probably we should learn something more about types. Signed integers. Okay, those are specific type names. Characters, booleans, and the unit type. Okay. Unit type looks like a little bit array. No, tuples. Arrays and tuples. Okay. And the variable definition is starting with let. Okay. Let logically bool. Let type colon, no, what's that? No. Let variable name colon type and assignment. Okay. If I want to specify that, it's not necessary to specify. The thing is, you can also tell me what I should type or what I should try out. I'm just trying to think out loud what I try to learn and understand. Let KC be true. Kind of reading this out loud. But I could also write it, let KC bool be true. Interesting. Let's just maybe turn on the autosave again. We compile it, and for some reason, yeah. And I think this is a typical error of mine, always forgetting. Okay. Prefix is with an underscore. Okay. This is an unused variable, and if I want to mark it as unused, I could use an underscore. That's interesting.
So it's like the same like in Golang, for example. So if you don't use a variable, the compiler will also say, please remove this variable or underscore it. So it will optimize it during compilation. So he will drop then out the code part.
That's actually a good thing, because I remember the Golang compiler being a little picky about things like that. And also imports, which I don't use. They are not removed automatically, but I need to remove them manually. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. But I think we want to do something with that now. We want to go with print and print KC. So, and oh, that's not. Maybe do something else. I love. Oh, that's not a string. No, we haven't learned about conditions yet. What does it do when I do this? That would be interesting. Okay, actually, it's a stringified or the string representation of Boolean. Okay.
Could you try to override GC? So setting GC in the next line to false? I think this shouldn't work.
This shouldn't be possible.
Because by default, all data structures are type safe.
You mean KC false?
Yeah. So this should probably throw you an error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because anything is const in Rust. So I think you have to add mute.
Mutable.
MUT. I think it's mutable.
Yeah.
It's written over
I know
there.
mut. So the prefix is mut, right? Yeah, mut.
Ooh, I know what I will be doing often.
Mute. But
remembering that everything is const is you kind of need to change and adopt your development style around that. Because I keep reusing variables quite often, especially for looping and other things. So like the helper variables.
Maybe the thing is, I'm not quite sure if it's in the loop, if it can guess that you try to reuse it, maybe. If you have a variable in a range-based variable or something like that.
No, it's
just the first three letters.
It's after the let.
Let mut.
Oh, the example. The problem is, yeah, this is not a good example. Because I just thought this would be the keyword. You shouldn't use
It's irritating. Yeah.
Changeable. Wow.
The thing is, I learned it from our community and in the past as well. If you use the same names for everything in the example, nobody understands the purpose of the keywords and things. So you kind of need to find made-up examples, or even prefix it with like, this is a variable name, so it's var underscore mutable, or just use something different. So this is mut. Timothy. I knew you would be laughing about that. Cakes is false. It's never read. Okay. Yeah. It's a warning, but shouldn't matter, right? It's interesting to detect that. Unused assignments. It's thinking about that. Oftentimes debugging errors or programming errors happen from overriding a variable, which is not intended. So it's a more safe way of dealing with variables and types, I would say. So this is interesting. What else can you do? Break or not break? Okay. Operators looks kind of familiar. Shift a little things around. Oh, million can be written with this. Interesting. Some hex codes. Yeah, okay. Tuples is interesting. A tuple with a bunch of different types. Okay. How does this work? This kind of needs the same position in the tuple for the type then?
So a tuple is typically an array, but in a sorted way. So the first, if you're changing one value of a tuple, it's a new type, or it's a new value, because the order is important in a tuple.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, then it makes sense. When the order is kind of compliant and defined like this. Okay. But actually these are values. Oh, this is super hard to read if the type is written after the number.
So it's an unsigned integer of 8-bit, right?
Yeah, it's 1, and this is 2, 3.
But in different data types, so it's in 16-bit, in 32-bit, and 64-bit.
Yeah, the only thing is, for me, it's but this is I think it's a personal thing. I need to kind of put a space in between for this. I know that you cannot do that from a parser logic around, but it's super hard to like take that into your head and say, oh, the 2 is like the value and the U16 is the type. But yeah, I think it's practice. Interesting notation. And probably we won't be using it often anyways. What else? Tuples. Oh, tuples are printable. Interesting. I want to see that. Probably it would be awesome to have a shared workspace right now. So you could be typing in that code and I could be typing. Schedule a call? No, I want to hide this.
So you need click
this?
on the icon to the right side, to the Gitpod icon, so it will disappear.
Thank you. To be honest, I get quite annoyed when something is open and I don't use it and I don't need it, and it just eats up this space, even though the monitor is huge enough. But yeah, and this one is to, yeah, okay, cakes is always false. That's interesting. What does it do exactly? It's just using, it's basically the callback or the replacement thing. Okay. Arrays and slices.
So
Now
it's a debug sign. So it's like if you probably know Golang, you can also paste the whole. If you want to use only the braces without the semicolon question mark, it will be printing probably you the reference pointer only.
And before we do that, I just thought of everyone else maybe wanting to try this out, or maybe checking out what we did now. I want to, what's written in there? I want to add this settings. Oh, it's what else, the autosave. Oh yes, maybe this and not this, but this. And the message is at initial Rust learnings. Hit commit amend, no. Okay. I was wondering if I can modify. I could add a git ignore file manually. Git ignore, and I want to ignore the hello file. Okay. Git ignore. Probably should have done that in the first place. So we have committed this, and now I want to push. Where was the push thing? There. Push, push, push. Oh, I wanted to change the branch name to main. Oh, we'll do that later on. Okay, back to the source code. And maybe just going, was it in there? No, it is the Spring Boot. I wanted to open up this one. Okay, yeah, it's there. We've committed it. I wanted to verify that. And where was the documentation? There was the documentation. We do have something else. What else can we try? Because I know that I'm talking a lot and I'm doing a lot, but please tell me what I should do.
So probably we could add some condition, so to checking if KC is true or not.
Okay. There are conditions. Custom types, types conversion. It's probably flow control. Yes. Everything inside. Okay. So if KC is true, we will print this, right?
Yeah.
If I'm a little worried about the syntax now. I have no idea what I'm doing. Probably it should be looking like this. Maybe I'm kind of missing the brackets right now. Yeah, okay. Else print line no KC. So I kind of stole that from JP Mans. So let's just try it out. I love KC, and if KC is now false, maybe we should just define some input. Yeah, okay. True. And I can add the obvious to do. Make this an input from the CLI. So we don't need to recompile it every time we want to test something. Okay, the second one is interesting. I didn't know that this existed, but it's nice that I can assign a variable value from a condition, which makes this hard to read. But actually, big N will either be 10 times N or half of it. Okay, it's interesting to know that this is also possible. The problem is if this goes beyond one page or one side, you will need to scroll to know and then guess which value is actually being computed out of
Or
that.
you could also use a function for that.
Yeah, I'm a friend of abstracting the source code. So normally I'm writing down everything in one flow, and then it works, and kind of adding more tests to it, and then refactoring the code into smaller functions, writing some unit tests as well, and encapsulating everything. Or sometimes I'm also like writing a pseudocode or pseudocode. I don't know the English word for that, but it's just like I know that the function should be defined later on, but I'm just writing it, and then the compiler crashes because the function is not defined, but the flow is there. And then I'm adding the function interface, which does nothing. Then the code compiles, and then later on adding the features then. Depends on experience and knowledge. I would say it's a pretty advanced technique.
Sounds a little bit like test-driven development.
Yeah, kind of. I adopted that from Gunnar a while ago, because previously I was more or less writing everything down and then refactoring, or just trying to do everything right from the beginning, which is like a total burnout in the end. And if you just, you know the algorithm, you know how things work, and you actually don't care how the array is being formatted or something is calculated, you just assume you give it a value and it returns your value, sometimes even hard-coded returns with a big to-do inside. So just that you can kind of test the architecture you're creating, like HTTP REST API thing, or just a daemon which is responding to something. And to be honest, this was the strategy which worked most of the time. And it's super convenient for pair programming as well. What else? We have functions. I read, unlike C and C++, there's no restriction on the order of function definitions. Okay, that
so
means
it's like
yeah, continue.
it's mostly in every modern language, so that you don't need to have a big order in it. While a function is declared.
Yeah, the thing is, if I would be doing that in C++, I would define the function interface in the header, and then include it. And then the order is still not important. But Michael, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
It should be true, because
must be true.
Because the compiler adds the include is only a replacement for copy and paste. Typically, the compiler will paste all the part of the header into the file.
Normally.
Oh yeah, and then you have kind of the static. No, it's not static. It's the functions interface, and from that you can just like call the function from main, even though it's defined below. You just need a declaration.
Yeah.
Rumpf, like the
the body.
The body.
Yeah, thank you.
Body.
Yeah, not actually the function body, the function interface, the function
declaration, the definition.
Yeah, it's always terminology is not my strength, to be honest. But you know what I mean. But it's interesting to see that the compiler takes care of that, so I don't need to care about where I define it. The only thing is I need to kind of keep it organized for myself. So spaghetti code or something like mixing everything is not a good idea. Which brings me to the idea I want to know whether I can use classes and objects. This will be interesting to learn if it's possible. But yeah, this looks pretty straightforward. The only thing is, what is this?
This is just a return type, I guess. You get an empty. It's void.
The unit type is this one. Okay. And for what?
So the arrow means it's within the pool, and the boolean, and the other one means void. Like,
okay, that makes sense. So actually, it's a different behavior to C++, where you define the return type on the left-hand side. Now you define the function, the parameters, and then what's being returned.
The funny thing is, in modern C++, when you have a lambda function, then it's more or less the same declaration, because then it's also the right side.
Yeah, that's true. I'm wondering if there are multiple return types possible, but
I assume that it is possible, because they have built-in tuples, so it's just a tuple, I guess.
Maybe we should just try it out. So we know that the main function can stay on top, and we go ahead and say, I know that we're a little over time, but if you got the time, maybe try this out. What can we do? fn calc release. And this should return. Do we have a string? No. Still? Char? Stern? I think I didn't really understand how to define a string. Is it this one? No, this was literals and operators. Custom types, structures, hello world.
So the type of string?
Types?
I think it's string or str. Something like characters.
I think I've seen something with characters before. Expressions? No. Conversion?
It would be a slice, probably.
It could be a vector of characters, maybe. But there is str, str. Seems like the type for string. But I guess there are multiple definitions, characters maybe for bytes, and string for real strings.
Yeah, we could also just return an integer, should also be possible. I was just like trying to return something like, yeah, it's a made-up function, but anyhow, it's return. Should it print something? No. I was wondering if I can format something from a macro. Can I use format? Yeah, I can use format. And this is the 22nd of, and this should be kind of the month. And we just passed the month in there, which means I already forgot how to pass this. It is month, and this is being 32, maybe. And maybe there is a function for date formatting. I have no idea. This is something for live Googling, Rust, convert integer to month string. could get a little complicated. Maybe I should skip on that.
Need an external package.
Yeah, probably. I was like worried about that, but I can see that every language has the same problem as with everything.
There is chrono, the struct chrono datetime.
Yeah, but this is a crate. I think a crate is a package, and we didn't learn about that yet. So maybe we're just printing 20 seconds of whatever is being called, and then over here we have our kind of release printer, and we just call the function and give it what is now 10. Should be looked over, and this gets a big fat to do. Replace with date time now, returning something like that. Would be a super nice, quick and easy to do exercise, I think, to create a function which prints the actual release date for the next GitLab release, for instance, on the 22nd, and should have some nice looking formatting or something like that. Let's see if this works actually. I think I did that correctly. No, I didn't. There is a missing semicolon.
Yeah, this is. I think you need string. What
is an
string
std? String. What's that?
There's a type called string with a capital S, and you can make.
What's that? String.
Can make a column, and so string uppercase S colon from, and then I think you can pass a str type.
Convert the identifier to snake case. What is snake case? Ah, calc release. Okay, so I'm using a different syntax here. I think I've solved it in a way that format returns the uppercase string somehow. And oh, I think
str is the literal and string is the a full-blown type. So I think this mix
the inline help from Gitpod is really nice. The primitive is str, and the string type is kind of the big one you want to use.
Yeah. So that's the manipulation class in the string class. Trait.
Oh, that's super convenient. Let's if we create an object from that, we have probably lots of object type methods. Oh, I can scroll. Oh, this is nice.
By default.
And it's also super nice to have it integrated in the IDE. So otherwise, I will be Googling a lot. And again, I've been landing on Stack Overflow for datetime. Okay. Yeah, I think there's lots of things to unpack and learn. String, okay. We keep a note, maybe. Let's just fill up the code with to-dos.
It would be really interesting to know
about string and keep talking.
What's the best practice? So is string just the manipulation class? Is it designed to be passed around, or is str to pass around? But I guess it's string itself. This is something which, for example, C++ has done not in a great way, because Rust seems to divide primitives and the higher class string literal. So in C++, there's this the character field. Most people think of, when they read characters, they think of text and not of bytes, as it is. And I think it's a little bit more convenient in Rust.
this sounds like you know that already what we're doing now. Did I do something? Oh, I did do something, but actually I didn't print it, which means it doesn't make sense. Maybe we should just, because it's so convenient. This, yeah, string manipulation is a pain if you're coming from C++ and C. And looking at Python, placeholders, join format things, blah blah, everything is awesome. New GitLab release on the and we'll just keep using what we're getting over there. This should work actually. Hopefully, maybe fixing the warning later on. It's a start. It's not beautiful, the 10, but we can hopefully find a way to convert the 10 into October. Even, yeah, I could maybe look up, create a hash map lookup and just do it manually with 12 months. Should be doable. Or a big if then else dance, also possible. I think it's important to kind of make things work. And this is why I was saying the previous test-driven approach, like you call it, you make things work and afterwards you make things beautiful. And there will always be an abstraction layer for specific functions or specific algorithms others have solved in a more efficient way than you did when you first started programming. And my code was not beautiful when I learned programming C++ years ago. And even before that, Delphi and Visual Basic and TurboPascal. But I do not really count. I do not really count that as programming. It was more of I have the printed pages in front of me, and I'm just typing what's written in the printed pages and trying to kind of figure out what it does. It was really hard to learn it back in school in the gymnasium to figure out what's going on. And our teachers were no IT professionals or something like that. They also needed to learn it by themselves and kind of teach it to us. I kind of threw everything away before starting my studies in 2002 and started fresh, and it was super hard to learn again. So C++ and I, we were not friends back then, but it did get better. I learned Windows driver programming for USB drivers on Windows 2000. So I'm that old. Anyhow, probably can also create USB drivers for Windows now with Rust. So would be interesting which low-level functionality you could add.
I think it's there's already an operating system kernel. I think there is some project, so you can get really low level. So Rust is more or less the successor of C++, if you want to call it like that.
Maybe you should ask that on Twitter and get some feedback on that statement.
and start some flame war.
Yeah, let's just say they can coexist, and we are always eager to learn something new.
No language will ever disappear.
I really hate language pushing. It's so stupid. Mostly use the language for the right use case. So it's like using the right tool for your job. So you won't use a hammer for everything. You can, but it shouldn't be. So you can have less work when you use the right tool.
Definitely. But if you start, you don't know every tool, so it's hard to find out.
The thing is,
depends on your mind.
we have the
Definitely.
possibility, or maybe like even the technology being leveraged into automated testing and other things, making our lives easier. I've seen that there's Julia, for instance. It's a new, kind of a new language for me. I have no idea how old or how new it is, similar to Kotlin. We have the possibility to learn something new, and maybe when we all work together and learn a new language, we can inspire others to say, hey, you want to be a programmer, you want to learn coding, like backend development or front-end development or whatever you want to do. And it's getting more convenient, and all the nice tricks Rust is doing now might be getting added to C++ 23 at some point, or 26, or whatever the cycle will be. So I think making this more approachable and more easy is a good thing. And I personally don't care whether people want to start with Ruby, Python, Golang, Rust, or whatever it is. From a personal recommendation, if you really want to start coding, I would say Python is best, from the trying things out ways. But it begs to differ, and with Gitpod, which is still running, it's even more convenient. So I don't need to install a local Rust compiler. To be honest, I have no idea how to install it on macOS. I guess it's easy, but I also don't want to pollute my system right now. I could use a Docker container and map this somehow with Visual Studio Code or Eclipse or NetBeans or whatever IDE, JetBrains, for instance, is there. But actually, it's super convenient to have it in the browser, to be honest. So when I'm closing the tab, if I close the tab, it will be stopped, the workspace, and then later on it's gone. On the other side, I could also jump on the 100 days of code and learn Rust in the next 100 days, taking breaks on the weekend, of course. Anyhow, do we have something else which we could try? Like, we have exceeded the workshop now with by 30 minutes.
It would be interesting to see. It would be interesting to see the borrow system, so that in Rust, if you have a type, then you have to borrow it if you want to mutate it. So it could only be one who is able to mutate. This is one of Rust's best features. Hard features.
Okay. The thing is, I have now opened the modules, which kind of remind me of a class declaration.
I think it's called traits. I think it's chapter 16. I think there is no class.
Oh, yeah.
Type traits, I guess.
Yeah, but the trait is a different thing in my understanding. A module defines visibility. So this is kind of structure class with pub. This is public. Nested modules. This is getting advanced.
It's like classes. So
it's trait. Yeah. Module seems to be like a container or something, a namespace.
It's like a package or a namespace, or it's a class. So it's only a structural object to give functionality into spaces so that they have different uses, and then you can nest them. So probably you could also use them only private functions in the class below and so on. It's like a typical pattern. It's like the same like packages and rolling. Mostly.
So I sent you a link in the chat, then you can see the type traits. So you have your trait where you define your members and functions, and then you have the implementation outside of your trait.
Okay.
It's more or less like Golang is doing it.
I just want to add a new module, which I will be calling GitLab. I want to try it out what's written there, because I think this is really hard to unpack or to understand if you don't try it out. I want to see how this kind of works and if it generates an error if this is marked private. No, it's private if I don't define it.
But by default, it's private.
It's always private.
Okay.
I think it's pub, I would guess.
Yeah, but you also need to remember it. So if I would be like using it like this, it doesn't work. Yeah, exactly. Okay, this is what I've been looking for, and it's this is nice. It tells me the error and where it is defined. Meaning to say I can fix that. Oh, for more information about this error, you can try. Oh,
Paste it. It's this something like man pages.
Ah, okay. That's cool. Didn't know that this has a specific error code. This is a little, yeah, okay, but the compilers do have this for quite a while. And I need to go back over here and say, hey, this is a public function. Yes, pub. Autosave is on. Compile it again. It works. It's interesting. And we execute it, and it again works. Oh,
so 2 questions.
Yeah.
Could you probably also move a mod into a separate file?
Yeah, that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, I can do that. Moment. Just a second. I want to commit the stages we're doing. Move the function to a module. And we can probably add, is it command N? I think so. No, it's not. What is that? New file. It's option. Okay, I need to remember the shortcuts. We are defining since I'm a friend of naming the file name in this as the same as the module or the class being defined. Let's just call it GitLab RS, and then we kind of move the module.
It seems that the curly braces are optional, so you can, if everything in the file is from the same module, you just have to type mod and your mod name, and that's it.
Okay,
yeah,
this is actually what I was looking for, but it's good that we are just trying things out without knowing if it's going to work or not. It's just like you have some experience and you guess, and I think this is a valuable thing to do. Just go ahead and try things out. Okay, this is mod. This is the declaration I need. So actually, the thing I need to add over here, next to maybe adding a header of to do, add header, we need to say mod GitLab. Oh, that's nice. Go ahead. It's guessing and it's showing me the location. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay.
So now both is in the same module. Is this what you want?
No. I need.
I don't think that you have to. I don't think you don't
include.
I don't think that you have to. I think I guess the Rust compiler check every file because it seems
so typically what the example says is that you need to have a structure so that you have a directory. So it's called GitLab, and into the GitLab directory you have a file that's called mod.rs. So this is the entry point, literally, for the package. It's like the same like using packages in Golang, so that we have in a package is by example it's a directory.
So it's more or less the same thing like in Python, the init file.
Yeah.
This underscore init. Mixture of all the languages.
Okay.
Oh, going back to the use function, it's quite interesting. You can rebind the function names also.
This is the same as in Perl, where you can kind of include a function from a package, and you can also rename it somehow. In Python, Python is the same.
Also in Golang, you can also use it.
But in Go, you can use it only for the whole package?
For the whole package, yeah. And the function in a package is stored by prefix by the package name, and then afterwards you need to call the function directly. But this is only, you can call it other function because he use the direct function. So because he says deeply nested function. So typically you can't probably rename a module.
Can I? I didn't know that.
I see you drifting away from Vim.
I didn't know that you can use drag and drop in there. I don't need to use Vim. The only thing I used Vim for quite a long time was that I learned it, and there is no Visual Studio on either Linux or Mac OS, like the full Visual Studio experience, not Visual Studio Code. But since everything gets better and many features have been moved into the community edition or made available for everyone, I really want to try it out or use it on a daily basis, but I need to find a use case, and this is one. So this is mod. Do I need to define the use thing now? I have no idea. Let's try it out. Okay, not found in GitLab. Consider importing this function.
Oh, you have to declare it, Luis. Yeah. So it scans the whole stuff, but you have to declare what you want to use.
Maybe I can just use the
going back
entire
into
module.
hello.
Yeah.
Then at the top.
Maybe I should
probably check the last line also.
Which last line?
So okay, I want only to check if the part with the card is in there. Yeah.
Undeclared type or module GitLab.
I think you have to use it. Or
this is actually Perl syntax with using something. I want to use warnings, use strict use, whatever. Let's just try that. Let's see. No GitLab in the root. Okay. Maybe I don't need the folder. If I use the folder now, I need to do something like this. Maybe no. GitLab.
Now going back to two errors before, so where it says undefined type, going a little higher, scrolling up, and here he is saying use consider GitLab create release.
Okay.
So why do we need specific duplicate GitLab? Do we cross?
Can we copy the GitLab file also to the workspace folder, to the root? Because maybe it's just using.
So now we need also to change this also in the line, so to GitLab.
Maybe the file name is incorrect.
Yeah, that's good. Or maybe it's a completely prefix. It could also be. GitLab
calc. This should work actually.
Yeah, but we're calling only GitLab calc directly in the line, so in line 28.
Maybe the whole input is the whole prefix.
Oh.
Can you see that? Now see an example. It's only the last part, like in Golang. But they write pub use for. There's also.
Can we just go with that and skip the namespace like this? Because this is one thing which probably works. No, it doesn't. And the other one would be GitLab. This one probably. No. How can I include a module? This is something.
It like we guessed in the first time. So you have put GitLab RS in the root folder and just write use GitLab. So there.
Yeah, but if I want to keep that structure, what is needed in split RS? Split RS is the main thing. Will look for my RS or my mod RS. Okay. Insert its content in the scope. So our main function or the hello RS needs to specify that mod GitLab. And
going probably into the my mod.
The my mod consists of mod inaccessible. Okay, this is the name. Pub mod nested. Okay, this is the declaration of the module, and these functions are kind of exposed by the module.
Now nested is another. So you open the module that you can call it from outside, because in every module, if you don't declare it, it's private. So the nested module is also another file. It's directly also by default, it would be only called nested.
Yeah.
You can't have access. Probably we need to add only to GitLab pub.
Could it be that you have in the subfolder just a pub from before the mod?
I think we need to do something like this.
And put the pub before the mod, because on the right side there is also a pub. Maybe this is a private module and a public module.
I think we need to kind of, this is the index for modules. Maybe something like this.
I know, I understand it. Go back to the module. So I know how we can solve it. So going back to the GitLab RS. So we need only to copy the function to the mod RS, and then we can call it directly from GitLab. So it's like the same function definition in mod RS. It's like defining pop function. Pop function would be directly callable. So it also the first function in the example in the mod RS.
Mod is just another layer, just another.
Do you understand?
This is no.
Okay.
The example is way too advanced. I don't understand that.
Okay, so copy line from line 4 until 6.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of the mod.
Copy it into the mod RS file.
Okay.
So, and now you can call directly this. We don't need probably the pub mod GitLab. It's not necessary.
Okay.
And now go into the hello release. And then probably you can remove one modifier of GitLab. So we need only one. Categories can be same, it doesn't matter. Yeah, and now it should be working.
But we don't need the GitLab RS for that, right?
No, we don't need it anymore. So that would be a nested module in the end. So this would be when we want to call GitLab ::GitLab. So this would be now.
Okay.
Going into the line in the print line. It's also wrong.
Oh, right. We didn't modify that.
But you need now GitLab. So the module is
use GitLab. Maybe we should just be using this.
Yeah. I would guess.
Found in the scope. Okay.
So instead
No,
of
you removed it.
yeah.
Yeah, because we are not kind of auto importing everything and putting it into the scope. We need to use the scope identifier.
So drop this line.
Not getting better. Okay.
So now
should
we
be
compile it. Untitled type of module.
In every example I see, also in a subfolder, there's always a pub mod declaration on the top. I think Rust ignored the fact that it's in a subfolder.
So we say pub mod GitLab.
Yeah. Also not. Interesting.
Yeah, but we remove the use.
Yeah, the use have to use GitLab.
I think we actually need to import what we want to use in the scope.
Use in the line instead of use mod.
Use mod, yeah.
Use
Only
mod GitLab.
Replace use with mod with the mod keyword.
No, don't you? Yeah, they pack it in the same module. Then it could find it in the same namespace.
So then going also drop this line now, or comment it out so that we probably save this.
We're using. I think we didn't commit it yet, but normally you should commit, try it out, commit, do whatever. Okay. What happened now?
We compiled it in the correct function. So if you are looking on the tree, it's like the same structure we got now. So our split RS is our hello RS file. And when you declare it in the file, he knows that he needs to look into a folder that's called GitLab. And the default entry point is the file of the mod RS file.
Okay, let's just steal this. I don't have the tree command right now. We have our hello RS. And this is the GitLab one. So okay, and to make this work, mod GitLab. Okay. Ooh, this is a brain fuck. Okay. And just by using the folder, it's actually defining this as a module.
So this is the default entry point. So I'm quite. Could you rename the mod RS to a different file? So to a different name, like example.rs also?
So
that's
that's
also fine.
Just a second. Staged, everything is staged. Add module. No, add. Okay,
no one's telling me that my camera is freezed, like 30 minutes or so.
Your camera, my camera, your camera.
My camera.
You might be needing to update Zoom, and you can also switch off your camera and going back.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I had the problem with an too old Zoom version, and everything was freezing all the time. So I kind of upgraded Zoom, and then it was gone.
I've pasted an Rust modules explained blog post. There are 3 different types of modules.
So no, also my OBS is also full.
A nested one, a single one, and a sub one. So there are multiple ways of doing this.
Yeah, it's better. Okay.
This is super awesome if you mention there are multiple ways of doing things.
So the easiest example is to have a file next to your file, or RS file, and then you have in your in your other file, so now it's called GitLab RS, you have your pub function without any module declaration, and in your main file you have to declare at the beginning mod GitLab.
Currently, we can also see your slide. Is it correct?
Oh.
So
let's see what's going on.
Okay.
Thanks for mentioning it, but it's nothing which is super secret. So it's just
Nothing
you have now seen that I'm doing a live stream over here, and the other Slack channel names are not secret. Anyhow, it's live on YouTube already, so I can revoke my credentials. No, I don't have any credentials.
So
I wanted to live document it. This was actually modules explained. Oh,
Nicholas was right. In your sub file, you don't have to mention the mod. It seems that mod is used to import something. So if you have a main file on the subdirectory, there is this mod import stuff. So that's, like he explained, this entry point where you have to make it public available from the package.
But
then you can import. Just check out that what the post sent you in the chat, in Zoom chat. Then you see the site with the whole explanation.
Right. And it was more interesting when we were addressing about how it's working instead of reading it.
But I think we were near the solution, but we now drifted away from the solution. So the submodules is the interesting
single module.
Then the second one is this what we try to use.
Mod. Yeah, this defines kind of what's inside.
And and make it public. And make it publicly available. You declare in the mod what is publicly available through your package, and I think that is what we not have.
Oh, it's a little bit more complex than we saw, because if you're checking now the main .rs, submodules is the folder name. So this would be calling, and then you can call the file, I guess. This would be a bridge to remember that.
Yeah.
The problem
and you also have to declare public.
I cannot. This is why use is an extra layer. If I just would be using modules, I always need to write the full namespace.
And with use, you can use the sub.
You can kind of
sub namespace.
Make it shorter, but actually I want to use an alias for a submodule and not a function name, and I think this doesn't work. Maybe it does.
So I think the only thing we're missing is the pub mod declaration in the mod.rs file. Before, not now.
Yeah, I think we need to add a new file, and this is GitLab RS again.
Then put the function
there. So now you created a folder in the file.
Just move it out.
Yeah, okay.
The input gets longer and longer.
Getting a little late, but it's fun.
Probably also 1 hour overtime. It's also okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. I probably shouldn't tell my team members that it's whatever time it is in my time zone. Yeah, they're probably watching. So I wanted to mark this, cut it, and say hi. And this one, and then I'll be saying modpub, pubmod.
No, you need only to pub the function then, because no, you're
No,
right.
I think the file.
I want to be going.
Well, yeah.
No, not this one. No, not the nested one. The more simple approach. Mod is the index. So this is basically the database index for the modules. Yeah, this is kind of like a foreign key table. No, it's not. It's an M-to-N relationship key table, whatever. And this is the actual declaration with declaring the public functions, right? Mod 1. Yeah, and actually, I don't need the prefix because mod 1 and this one is defining the class path or the namespace for the function. Okay. Whew.
To use it, you have use the use keyword or the mod keyword.
And to make it more clear, let's just say, can I just click here? Yes. I want to add a new function. What? And say GitLab has GitLab and maybe release RS, for instance. And we're gonna say, okay, calc release is maybe being moved into the release function. And I don't want to rename it now. And this function, this module has fn hello, so to say. And this is a string, and this returns hello from GitLab, which is I tend to make complicated things. I hope you can still follow. I'm just moving this over here, adding a semicolon, and this should be working. So in my mod, I say it's pubmod GitLab and it's pubmod release. Maybe GitLab. Oh,
yeah,
rename it. Hello.
Rename would be much better.
Yeah, that's the typical problem. You build an example and then you figure out, oh, it's not telling as much as we want to do it. And hello is also not good. Hello. Yeah, that's
sub.
Let's
sub.
print or util is.
If you don't know how to name it, call it util.
Yeah, that's right. Util or utility is where you
or
throw
common
everything.
Common and tools.
No, not tools, but common is better. Rename common, because util is more or less a string manipulation or other things. So we have common, and common has a hello function. Mod needs to define common. Okay. And okay, we have autosave on. Common defines hello. Release defines calc release. Maybe rename it calc. Or print release print. Since I'm breaking everything now, it doesn't matter. And then in our hello RS, we say mod GitLab. This is totally okay.
Yeah, then we have to type it out.
And we want to, replace this one and say GitLab. And
then you
common. And this was called hello. This doesn't take any parameters. And the same was done in Release. Ups. Ich habe ein Release für die Print.
What? Print?
I think I called it Print now.
I think I
renamed it into Print. Yeah, just to confuse everyone, I renamed everything. So in theory, this should be working now. Actually, it doesn't.
Yeah, you have to call it formatted because you have a string and you give it a string literal. There is no implicit conversion. I think you can type string colon from.
Okay,
colon from. You make
a static method.
It has to be explicit. Okay. No implicit type conversions.
Okay, this is not a trick I can be using from. This is annoying. From overriding the constructor of the string class. Which I can do in C++. No, it's I need to call the static method. Okay. Still learning everything. This does not work because
argument must be string literal. And you give it a string. You have the same problem with the print. The print macro wants a string literal and not a string. So maybe you rename the hello function, the return value to str, and just return the string literal. It's easier to return.
The primitive type. Okay.
Yeah. So then it's the same type. So str, primitive. Then you can completely remove the string from and just leave the string literal there.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty confusing to have two string types.
I know why they are doing it, because it must be separated. It must be a const size. Oh my goodness.
Can that just be using a string from blah?
But you can try to use a ref like it's.
What? Like this?
Ref str? No, I'm not sure if it's for the type.
Doesn't have a size known at compile time. So
this return value is
I need to be using string because this function may return a dynamic string, and therefore the string class or whatever this is was invented.
So it's like it's an array. It's a fixed array.
Yeah,
it's a
variable size. And if I would be using str, it should be.
It's fixed memory.
It's a fixed memory, and it's kind of checked for out of bounds and things like that.
It's something like std vector for the stuff, or std string. It's more or less the same principle, but.
But do we need to call also string from?
When you want to go from the string literal to the string, I would guess you have to.
So because going back to the line and clicking on the return value on the string.
Yeah, I need to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the change I missed. And then I need to do
how you get the str from the string.
Rust get string from object, str from string.
STD format. Could it be that it's just for the parentheses, the curly braces stuff? That it's just a variable. They have to pass to the
so you might in the formatted string, so that you have first the string with a crop, but this shouldn't need to be done. You can use the pointer.
The ref.
Yeah.
Rust is really strict.
Ooh. Yeah, but I don't want to store the function.
Go to your print function and make a format string. So type quotes, then curly braces, and then dash, and then your string. Maybe this could work. No, in the print function. The print ln function. In your hello.
You mean the hello RS thing?
Maybe it's you have to pass it as argument, not as fixed.
This was the previous thing like this?
Maybe.
I think this was there was a suggestion like this somewhere previously.
Because I think it's
you might be missing this one. This was basically what it told us before. But it didn't tell us to be using.
Hey. Okay. we maybe should remove Kixi so that warning goes away.
But it still works, and this is pretty good.
So the question is the format string, produce, and fixed size string. So it's str, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of an implicit conversion what we are doing now. So this is, in my grammar or terminology, it's an implicit conversion, not a converse. Okay, it doesn't get any better today. Implicit conversion from string to string.
It seems like the normal way in Rust.
Okay, we have GitLab, we have the mod, and coming back to this, we now have command and release. And actually, kind of this is the entry point declaration. And these are the functions.
Oh, it's the same thing as string slice. str is the same as string slices in Go. So
okay.
Always fixed memory.
Yeah, I was just coming back to the module definition. This is kind of the interfacing for the module. And mod GitLab kind of includes that and reads everything in there. Okay. And then we kind of use the whole thing. Or we could just write, and this is something I can try out now.
You can also import sub-elements with mod and then with the curly braces, like the import in modern JavaScript. So you can
maybe
export.
Isn't this, but this one. Yeah, I think this is a pretty advanced stuff to learn this early, to be honest.
Yeah.
But probably it's important to know it as hello.
Don't think you need the parentheses.
Yeah. The brackets as hello, and then I can say also this as in this without the scoping. I don't know if this works, but let's try it. Yeah, it does. Needs the use As aliasing above. Okay. Source control. I want to add all the changes and say more advanced modules structure and usage. Boom. Push. And I've lost. I'm over here. Let's just see. Yeah, okay. It was in there, and here we might be able to do something more. I think that's a good start. Probably we should reserve more time for learning a new programming language, but
having a better estimation, it's like having project estimations. How long do you take for programming this? And you say, okay, it takes me only 1 day, but in the end, at least 3 or 5 days.
So times 3, what you're guessing?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I would call it a day or call it an hour right now, because we are kind of, what is this in minutes? 137. And stop sharing my screen. I will wrap this up later on, or not later, but tomorrow in a blog post about it. The video is on GitLab Unfiltered already, but repurposing this. The first thing I'm gonna do now is I'm stopping to share my screen. I hope you had as much fun as I did, probably from the laughter I was hearing. Yeah, we should do this again next week. We will be welcoming. Let me check out. I think it was next week. Yeah. Some new things, but probably Gina AI was it. We can discuss whether we will be doing Captain, which has also been proposed, or continue learning Rust in 2 weeks, maybe in 3 weeks time. Yeah, if you're up for that, obviously. Maybe someone else wants to take over if my 3 minutes for Gitpod are gone. No, it's no problem to invest a certain amount of money into this awesome project. Right now we have been using everything for free, so it's really, really nice. Yeah, and with that, I would say enjoy the evening, everyone on YouTube, and we're gonna stop the stream now. Bye.
Bye.